Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're bringing you the Tier 8 Fen Yang Pan-Asian Destroyer. This is a support destroyer. The thing that's going to be unique about it is it only has 100mm cannons. This thing is a fire-starting beast, but you're going to get a lot of non-pens, and we'll show that a little bit later on. In terms of captain builds, it's a little bit different than your traditional destroyer. We're going priority target, adrenaline rush, superintendent, survivability expert, torp reload booster, demo expert, and rounding it out with concealment. Equipment is going to be basically a stock equipment setup in terms of a destroyer. Nothing particularly special there. The deep water torpedoes are like the Asashio, going 12 kilometers. Detect is going to be low on them. The only difference is your ability to be able to get into range to be able to fire these torps. Concealment 6-1, not exactly the best, but not exactly the worst. And its maneuverability is not as good as some, 4-5, but it's going to be able to get the job done. Armor, pretty standard. 19 millimeters, 13 millimeter superstructure, 19 millimeter side. This thing is not going to be able to survive most encounters with DDs, as you'll see. All right, let's get into the game. Now, again, this is a support DD, and the thing you're going to be looking for is another DD to be able to go in and cap. If that's not available to you, you're going to be spending the bulk of your time outside of the caps, using your smoke, using your speed boost to wiggle around. If you do get into an encounter with an enemy DD, then you're going to have some problems with it, and we're going to take a look at an encounter with the DD. My Shimakaze decided not to cap. We were already down 2 caps. I went into the cap, and lo and behold, there's a Friesland. Any type of shot I'm going to put on him is almost always going to non-pen unless he's broadside. I can't see him. I do manage to get a fire, but look at this. Non-pen, and look how quickly this ship is going to go down to a Friesland. Marceau's Frieslands, a lot of Tier 9 and Tier 10 destroyers are going to absolutely pummel this ship. It is a very niche type gameplay. You need time to be able to set things on fire. What it is good at, like most Pan-Asian DDs, is going to be its AA, and the Lexington is going to come over and make that mistake. It does have defensive AA fire under the I category, and it's going to put down some good damage on the Lexington. The Lexington's going to basically ignore me the rest of this game because we're just shredding his planes. So if you do get into a situation where you don't have a supporting DD to be able to go in and cap, you're going to spend the bulk of your time outside of this cap. And because you're not setting up like a standard destroyer, you're going to lose your engine a ton. That's completely okay. The only way that this ship really works well is point captain, and there are going to be times where you're going to have to engage enemy destroyers. And right here, we have an Akazuki that I'm engaging. I'm lighting him on fire. When you do deal circumstances, you can switch to AP, and you should, because then you're going to be able to put some damage down on destroyers. But I think most destroyer captains are going to figure out really quickly that all you have to do to defeat a Fen Yang is angle, smoke. So once that happens, I'm going to have to switch back to HE. We are going to be able to get some cheeky fire damage on him and ultimately dispatch him, but you're going to struggle immensely against enemy destroyers. Here you can see the maneuverability. He's fired some torpedoes. I am able to spot them and evade them. But again, in the most advantageous of circumstances, basically one-on-one with an enemy DD, you struggle a lot to be able to do anything. And back to our normal game, we are going against a little bit squishier, easier destroyer. If this is a Tier 9 or Tier 10 destroyer, I'm basically dead. We are able to light him on fire, and I think we get the kill here. But notice I've gone nowhere near that cap, and you're going to see that trend continue with the Shiriatsu. What it does excel at is lighting fires. And if you're the kind of person who can't sit there and just non-pen over and over and over again, we're talking, 2, 3, 400 times in a game just to get these fires, then you're probably going to want to look elsewhere. You're going to be an annoying presence on the battlefield. Your ability to spot torps and all that standard DD stuff is going to happen. And when you do get the chance to fire the torps, what you're going to notice that's different between this and the Asaccio is A, they're only 12 kilometers. B, you only get 4 of them, so you have to rely heavily on the 4 torpedo reload boosters that you get. But you are going to see what this thing does really well, which is light fires, string damage, and that's where this ship can be a ton of fun. If you can put yourself in advantageous positions and use your smokes correctly, then you can basically just sit there and free farm battleships and cruisers. Where you're going to get into trouble with the Fen Yang is radar basically negates the ship. And there's really little you can do against cruisers besides light them on fire. And they have a lot of tools to be able to combat you. However, if you get into situations like you see here where the enemy destroyer has been dispatched, I know I have a free flank, you could basically... Oh, I don't have a free flank. I do have a destroyer I have to deal with. You could basically sit there and free farm and light on fire the Massachusetts and keep an eye on the non-pens here because you're going to see a ton of them. Over and over and over again, there's going to be non-pens, but I'm not going for that chip damage. I'm going for string damage. I'm trying to light things on fire. And that's where this ship can be a ton of fun. The only problem is with the destroyer directly next to me sitting in smoke, I can't stay in the smoke forever because I'm going to risk being torped. So the ideal situation, the ideal circumstances need to happen in order for this ship to really shine. And you find yourself putting your boat in a lot of precarious situations in order to still do the jobs that are expected of you as a DD. If you notice, even though C is basically a free cap, I'm avoiding it because the moment I get spotted out, I'm gonna die. And so I'm just sitting there trying to string damage and string fires. This Massachusetts currently has my eye, but I know there is a destroyer and I have some support. So this is going to be the time where the Fen Yang is going to shine. I'm going to follow my Akatsuki. Hopefully my smoke is going to be available by the time I can torp through him. And I have some targets that with the Lenin and the Massachusetts that are going to be ideal candidates for these deep water torps. Now, I don't have the reload booster for it just yet, but basically the timing of the reload booster almost syncs up perfectly with the use of your torps. So use them wisely. Situations like this, now I am spotted out because it has terrible detection, and I'm just sitting there waiting for my smoke. And when I don't have it, you're going to see me get it ripped up pretty badly by the Massachusetts and the Gallant. Now, with the torpedoes, you want to spread them out. They are deep water torps. If you get good hits on them, hopefully you're going to be able to engage multiple targets. Here I am again. There's not much I can do against the destroyer, but we do manage to dispatch him, and now I go back to free farming mode. First torpedo hit is good on the Massachusetts. We're waiting to see, and I'm trying to light this Lenin on fire, so if I do hit him with a torpedo, and this is the beauty of this ship, you light something on fire, hope it DCPs, and then you follow up with that torpedo damage. That's how you're going to string damage, and that's how you're going to have a lot of fun with this ship. Situations for this ship being ideal are rare, but when they do happen, you're going to find yourself being either on the top of the team or the bottom of the team with this ship. There's really little in between. And now I've got this Massachusetts right where I want him. We're going to be able to sit there and chip damage. But look, 30 non-pens. Not a single one of my shells has done any damage. All my damage is coming by fires. 6 more non-pens. And I'm hitting him straight superstructure. And this is the weakness of the Fen Yang. And if you can't get over the fact that you're not doing damage and you're just sitting there trying to light fires, then you may want to rethink purchasing this boat. If you do like just chipping at things and lighting them on fire over and over again, or if you can pair with a British battleship, a Thunderer, a Lion, a Monarch, Smolensk, you can have a ton of fun with this ship. But again, 42 non-pens. I've got 61 shots right now. Maybe 5 of them have actually done damage themselves. Everything else is coming from the fires. But so far, I already have 6 fires and a kill and a singular torp hit. If I was able to land a torp here on the Master of the Lenin, our damage would be piling up. But again, there's no destroyers, so I'm just going to keep moving into position, waiting for my smoke. If you use your smoke effectively, basically you're going to have time to sit there and free farm, and then you're going to be able to reposition, and by the time you've repositioned, you're going to be able to have your next smoke up. This DD feels unlike any DD that I've played. You can make kind of a comparison to the Asashio, but the Asashio's guns can handle itself in most situations. While it can't beat a Marceau and the such, you also feel that your 8 deep water torpedoes are going to hit. You have to be very precise with this ship's torpedoes in order to be able to do damage. And that extra time between when you could fire the first and second salvo, even with the torpedo reload booster, basically means you're going to have to very accurately predict where that ship is going to go. If it's going to stop in reaction to your first torps, what that does kind of naturally is it allows you a better chance to first strike, get a flood, have them not see your second set of torpedoes, and then that second round comes and basically permafloods them. But that's assuming that you're going to be accurate with 2 racks of torpedoes. I don't really rely on the torpedo damage for this ship. The fire damage and the ability to start fires, just in this time we've started 2 more, is where this ship really shines. So you have to be able to hit ships at specific parts and make sure that you maximize your fire damage here. So now it's 1-on-1 versus the Lenin. He's managed to push up, so I'm just going to attempt to light him on fire before torping him and hope that my torps hit. And again, there's that natural time between the two. I have no way of escaping him at this point. We've set the fire, but again, we've missed that first rack of torps, and I'm guessing we're going to miss the second because he's turning in. It looks like that's going to be the case. So now the only tool I have left to kill this guy is fire damage, and that's going to be kind of a huge problem here. So I need my team to be able to do some work, and it looks like my aircraft carrier has responded. But again, if you find yourself in this situation, your engine's going to go down, as it does right there. And the only way I have to escape this, thankfully, is going to be my smoke, which I should be deploying shortly. Yep, there it is. And so the Fenyang is really a damage over time ship. You need time to be able to string these fires together. You need time to wait for your torpedoes, and you need the ideal conditions for the enemy destroyers to be able to die in order to be able to do what this ship does best. Once you have those conditions, it's a lot of fun, but you have to be really patient in this ship. The moment you're impatient is the moment you get caught out by an enemy DD. And basically, as soon as this ship is in circulation, enemy DDs are going to know that they can be aggressive with you, and there's really nothing you can do against an aggressive Marceau, an aggressive Kitakaze. They're going to murder you. So you have to play cautious. If you notice, I've gone nowhere near our caps at this point, and we're up. So it really is reliant on having teammates that can come in and help you. The most success I've had in this ship is when I dived with friends that played destroyers or fire lighting cruisers or battleships, where we were able to basically focus down a target and really string those fires. I would light something on fire, and the enemy DD, or I'm sorry, my teammate DD would be able to ultimately go in and get that flood damage. Where this DD really shines is if you can use its kit effectively. If you get through a battle and you have smokes left and you have your torp reload booster left, you're playing the ship incorrectly. And if you notice, almost every single one of my torpedo shots, unless I'm fairly confident that I don't have a very high chance of hitting, I'm using that torp reload booster. The Lexington basically was completely scared away from me. so I didn't have to use my defensive AA but for the beginning. But he got a pretty tough lesson, and just now, once I already have a battleship in sea, I'm even considering going into cap. The potential for high damage on this ship is there with the torpedoes, but realistically, you're looking at getting your damage Thunderer style through fires. I was able to light 11 fires here. Only one torpedo hit, no caps, but look at this, 305 hits, and I would wager to bet that less than 50 of them did any damage on their own. So this is highly reliant on fires. It is highly reliant on smoke. And it is highly reliant on your teammates being able to go and get caps. If you're the only DD in this game, your team is going to struggle immensely to get caps. But if you're one of 3 or one of 4, then you're going to have a lot of fun in this ship. I highly recommend, if you play it, to play in divs. Playing this solo was a very, very frustrating experience for me. And it looks like, yep, all we have left is the enemy CV, which should be going down soon. And that is going to be a W. I was able to use most of my health, almost all of my consumables in this win. It's a really good ship at cleaning up battleships. It is fairly weak against cruisers. It does not feel like any other destroyer I played, so there is a lot of fun in that department, but it is a very, very high skill floor ship to do well in. New destroyer players should avoid this ship. Veterans looking for that extra challenge and a little bit more fun, and you know, being that nuisance, this is a ship you should definitely look into. And it looks like we're going to wrap up by getting the final cap and killing this aircraft carrier. I don't think we point out here. And yep, there it is. So let's take a look at the final scores. All in all, I would recommend this ship for experienced players. New players should avoid it. 45k, I think we're going to be about mid-table. But look, 274 non-pens. Only 31 of my shells hit, but I got 11 fires. So that's where the damage really comes together. Again, you're either going to be near the top of your team or at the bottom. We were able to do a little bit of chip damage to destroyers, and we got 22,000 damage via fires. Credits, not bad.